Hello, hello, and welcome back to
One hit
High Points. This is Kareem.
and trapped.
All right, so, Travis, what are we talking about today?
um, we're talking about the different dynamics of our childhood and where we grew up, and whether that's good or bad differences. Did we learn anything?
So, you mean like growing up in rural and me growing up in like rural?
Plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that me growing up in a small Midwestern town, it has to be a little different than growing up in like the city of New Jersey and New York City. Like they're
Okay, so don't out where I'm from if you're not gonna out where you're from.
I said the general area.
No, what state are you from?
Warsaw, Indiana.
There you go.
Yeah, so just more
Because
of
I'm from Jersey, but I'm very proud of that. So I said that as a joke because I want him to say where he's from. I mean, everyone should be proud of proud in a way that's like what made you you, but not proud in a way that's like look where I'm from.
yeah, I'm
That's
definitely
cool.
proud of where I came
Mhm.
from, and it's not necessarily that it's like, oh, I wish I didn't live there. There's nothing like that. I think it's
Because you
looking
know
back.
that it's synonymous how Midwesterners like how people view Midwesterners sometimes on the East and West Coast.
Yeah, we can normally be pinpointed real quick, as in, oh, you're not from here,
Yeah.
and or it's the same thing. Like when I lived down south, they're like, you're not from here, and that's more of an accent standpoint. But you typically do get pegged out of like a group of people, as in, hey, this is yep, I'm the Midwestern high over here.
Peg.
Yes,
Sorry,
pegged.
I'm immature. Okay, anyways,
Um,
continue.
but there's a part of me as I grew up, or matured, and as I've aged, is I kind of look at it as in, um it's a very sheltered life from the world. Like you're
Right.
really not exposed to a whole lot. Now it might be different today with social media. Like I grew up, most of my middle school and elementary school, there was no social media. Most of high school wasn't. There's MySpace was around. No one.
I had a MySpace,
Yeah.
and you're like what 6 years older than me. Yeah, I had a MySpace. I had converted my top eight into a top five and then a no top because people would be like upset if they didn't make the top eight, and that's how you know
Oh
if
my
someone was
gosh,
mad at
isn't
you.
wasn't that right? Yeah, you had your top friends.
Yeah, but you knew someone was mad at you if you were not on their top eight and vice versa, and it was
Yeah,
like
but you
such a
remember
ridiculous
also
feeling.
like when cell phone companies came out with the, friends and family, and you had to like pick your top five people or your top 10
Yeah,
people, and if you called them, you could use unlimited minutes or texting. Yeah, I could never feel the
I
like.
haven't had a phone. I didn't have my first phone until I was 18, so all my other siblings had phones, and I only ever used partially my sister's phone when we were together to like call my mom for something at the time. But I never actually had my phone, but I still do remember that as well. I
Yeah,
also
but
remember my
it's kind of
screen
funny
name
because I
and my
don't even think I
AOL.
could fill the top 10. Like it was like my family and like one friend, and I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Well, I abolished my top eight and four because people were just so nosy. But back to what we were talking about, because MySpace is still the OG, and honestly, I loved MySpace. I loved that I was able to code websites
Yeah, it's just
and
like
all that
it's like
stuff
here
since
you
I was
go.
like 10 years old, and here I am now. I'm like, what? How do I even turn on this bus? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's weird that how they were teaching everyone like HTML. Here, embed your video player here.
I was definitely more educated as a child through the internet than I was at school and than I am right now. I was probably smarter back then than I am now.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I have more wisdom now.
but no, like the Midwest is it's a very sheltered way, and then there's nothing wrong with that. They're just they only know what they know. It's kind of like it's they only know what good Italian food tastes like because to their standards of good Italian food, like it's
So you're saying the Midwest doesn't have any good Italian food?
no, it doesn't.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is like like is this like a
Well,
statement
at least
from
in
Travis Porter?
northern Indiana, there might be one Italian restaurant, but you know what? I've had better Italian than the best restaurant out there.
Okay,
So
but who knows? Maybe I don't even know what your standard of Italian food
I
is.
don't even know what my standard of Italian food is, besides what tastes the best in my mouth.
So do we listen to Travis Porter who's from Indiana or do we listen to the
I would
People from
listen to the
Indiana's bands
Italians
or the
that
Italians.
I've met in New Jersey.
I don't even know what I was trying to say. I just think I phased out. Sorry, disassociated for a second. Anyway,
But yeah, but even going through high school, it was very stereotypical. Like high school that you were probably, you had your jocks and all those different groups and cliques, they all existed, and I really don't know which one I was in.
I feel like I can picture you being in like the typical high school that movies are based on, like movies. Just like I picture just like the very classic, like I don't know, small town high school.
Well, that's actually kind of funny because they actually did a movie on my high school.
Okay.
Not really sure if I'm able to say it or not.
Don't say the movie name. Oh, actually say the movie name if you're allowed to.
I don't know if I am. Hit us up if you want to know the movie name.
Yeah, that's not really funny. Because I know you briefly mentioned this, but you didn't
Yeah,
go
my entire senior year, like they had all these movie crews there. They had the cameras and the mics, and it's just like. And I was in a school about like 2,000 2,100 students. The school is massive. Okay, so and then it's like you're trying to walk down the hallway. You're already on a time limit because of the time between classes, and then all of a sudden you have these stupid little movie cameras there, and you can't get through. Because they're centered around like six different individuals
I'd
they
be
were
like, move, bitch,
following.
I'm about to be late for class.
And, microphones always being like put into your face and pictures. And it just almost felt like you were kind of trapped and you weren't able to ever escape it. So I mostly try to find my way out of school, did what I should. But
Same. I cut school all the time. I was only I mean I probably said this on like 3 podcast episodes already, but I've been in school like combined days like literally 100 days
yeah,
in
I
high
mean, I
school.
was in school, but I was then leaving to go to, a college and going school somewhere else so I could escape the like
Meanwhile,
the traumatic piece of
I was leaving to go smoke a cigarette behind Popeyes. We were not the same,
uh,
but yeah.
no, fried chicken is good though.
Dude, I mean like come on. Like obviously who would not like my high school is right across the street from a Popeyes. Like I literally left the prison walls. My high school looks like there's prison walls. You've seen it.
Oh, you need to look at my high school. It looks like a prison. Also,
There's
it
like
was
a
actually, I think,
watchtower.
designed by a prison guy.
Oh, so okay, so technically, okay, we can relate on that. What? So if you had to be part of a clique, what clique, like what generic clique name or whatever grouping would you have been a part of?
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. It's so funny because I feel like I'm a combination, like the group of like just the really friendly kids slash like burnout. Like
I was the
I was like the
quiet
friendly
ones. I
burnout.
would say I was like, the Outsiders are the very, very quiet ones that I didn't speak. I didn't talk to hardly anyone in high school. I definitely wasn't on the popular side or a jock or anything like that. I was in some computer classes and I put my head down and I was always the first one to walk into the classroom. I wasn't the one like running in right before the bell. No, I was the first like student in the classroom just sitting there waiting patiently.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when I think of you, I kind of see you as just like exactly what you described.
It's the quiet one.
Yeah. Whenever we have these podcast episodes, I actually, so fun fact, I don't actually listen to them back. I can't because I get so cringed by my own, speaking. So I let Travis handle all that. But we're such a different dynamic where he's qu quite literally a far better listener than I am. But I try my best because I'm really passionate about a lot of things, and I'm learning every single day to like get better at this and getting able to talk better and enunciate better.
And I think that's on the flip side of it. You're learning to, kind of like talk better, that. But for myself, I'm trying to speak better. I do a whole lot of listening, and not a lot of speaking. And sometimes, learning to speak your truth is empowering.
Now, is the
And
truth the alternate truth? Like,
the,
is it alternate to the actual truth? Is your truth and the actual truth the same?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, and as I cut you up, continue.
Lost my train of thought. And
Oops.
yeah, but just learning how to speak.
Exhibit A.
There's too many times I just sat back and just kind of observed. Never, and I don't know the reason why I never was able to speak up, but I just never wanted to, or there was some trauma that I haven't unearthed yet.
Because it's bullies like me in high school that were like,
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's bullies like you that never allowed me to speak.
Yeah, I'm such an asshole. You know, it's ironic that that's exactly what happened to my entire childhood as a kid. And everyone was just say like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, what are you saying? You're so annoying." Blah. But it was me trying to talk as fast as I can while articulating my thoughts because I think faster than I speak and trying to get my point out. And because I was never able to get my point out as much as I wanted to or as effectively as I wanted to, I was just constantly in this overthinking state of how the hell do I get my point across and get people to understand what I'm fucking trying to say without them cutting me off or telling me to
Well,
shut
that's the
up.
other thing. You grow up in a large family, so you're always trying to, outvoice the other person, and it's just louder and louder and louder and louder.
107.
You know, like compared to myself, it's I'm one of two. So, and most of the time, I wasn't around my brother, at least the high school piece of it. So,
So you're a tech outsider who was very quiet, but I'm sure had no problems or beef with anybody.
no,
Never been in trouble by a teacher.
no,
Never got detention.
maybe once in middle school, I
You
think.
foul scum.
Does that
Um,
make me a bad person?
sorry, I love it sound. Yeah. No, it doesn't make you a bad person. Reference our last episode, consciously unconscious.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're referencing old work.
Sometimes it's what we have to do.
Um, okay, so I'm not gonna really talk too much about my childhood and my school and stuff like that because I feel like that's just all so loaded because there's a lot going on with that whole. It's a very fast pace, so it's really just like fuck your feelings and move on. But with your dynamic in school, it
Yeah, I
just
mean, maybe,
seems.
later on, we can, kind of talk about that and kind of piece through that, as the time deems.
I'm just more
But like,
curious about like what so pretty much your experience as a student in Indiana, like how did that shape you? How do you feel like that more so is why you're who you are versus like the people that grew up in high school here? Like what differences do you notice?
I
Because I know
think,
what
I
differences
think
I noticed, but what do
for,
you notice?
some things, I think it's more a sense of being gullible almost in some aspect, as in like, there's a lot of things that I don't know because I wasn't around it, or and here some people might say, well, you should have known that, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's the first thing I've ever heard about this, and it can go down to something very stupid as far as like what is um I can't think of anything right now. I was trying to think of like a New Jersey term for something like a pie. Okay, like, oh, do you want to order two pies? I don't know what the hell that means. I thought they were talking about apple pie. But they don't use that term in the Midwest. So what I'm getting at is that you become gullible on some things, and you face individuals that will sit there and say, um, that uh, you should know what that is, and I don't. Or some things are just like, even like trade pieces, as far as, um, I don't know what I meant by that.
I think what the point you're trying to make is that there is certain terminology and certain like there was a culture shock. It's a bit of a culture shock for you, and you're being the one that's told
Eh,
that like how do you not know this? How do you not know that? But you're clearly from a different area versus like if I were to be in Indiana and you guys were talking about certain things and I questioned it, I would be in a very like what the hell is that? What the hell is
Yeah, and I
this?
think the other piece of it is that in Indiana, for the most part, I never really thought that anyone I met would do me harm or
Right,
wrong.
right.
And coming to New Jersey, all of a sudden, or even when I moved down south, it's kind of like you all of a sudden, I don't want to say I got burnt out, or kind of, but you kind of saw where you were, in lack of better words, like kind of taken advantage of in some capacity.
Okay, well
And
that's
so
sweet.
so it's more of that. That's the other piece of the gullible part. So what you do is you just build these walls around you and don't really let anyone in, type thing, because you don't know what true truth is. Because I don't know, is
That's actually a really kind of sad, but like really just eye-opening type of way of putting it. Like, because I
like,
wouldn't
I
know.
really don't know if someone comes up to me and says, oh, this is what this is, I don't know any different if it's something very specific.
Like you're so gullible that you fear being taken advantage
There's
of.
some things that are just stupid, and you can put just a level of street smarts on it. Like,
You're saying stupid a lot here. You're feeling like this is all just stupid. This is all just so dumb. So Why? Okay, sorry, continue.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the severely high phase of this podcasting because um we've done an episode previous to this one, but we've done it back to back because sometimes we feel the energy to do so.
The energy, the topic speaks to us.
But I'm in the high phase now where I just feel like I don't care where the fuck you're from, you're so funny and you offer so much like value to my life in terms of just social interactions. Like there's certain things I learned from you based off where you came from, and it's like, wow, I never thought about it that way, or wow, that's really just like awesome and cute, a way of looking at it or thinking of it, or the terminology used is very funny because it's like basically a slang word that no one has ever used here. So I love the fact that you're from a different area, and I think that's why we bond so well.
And I kind of like, and thank you.
Yeah,
And I bond well with you as well.
yeah,
But I
so
kind of
bond.
think that's why I kind of like New Jersey as itself is in you have exposure to all sorts of different things, and in where I grew up, there wasn't much exposure to outside cultures and things like that. It was only, the cultures that were around it, like,
Yeah.
yes, there's an Indian food restaurant, but like that's just norm. Like it's more of like meeting people and those type of things. And as much as, it might surprise you, I do enjoy meeting new people. Even though, my face doesn't necessarily reckon it. Um, but yeah, it's a culture thing, and that goes back to the sheltered part. I feel like, you weren't exposed to a whole lot of things. Um,
I was, in my opinion,
I had a lot of fun times in
yeah.
Indiana, so I don't want to make it sound like, those that are listening where I grew up, I didn't I wouldn't like trade any of that in. It made me who I am today. And,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of good fun memories also there, growing up as a kid, and I have lots of stories on that. Maybe someday we'll talk about
I
those.
feel like how much you relate with my siblings in terms of like age dynamic is kind of why I'm able to relate with you at a
Mm-hmm.
rate that a 6 year gap would not matter because my sister, my brother are pretty much the same age as you. So out of all my siblings, and I have two older sisters than you by like 10 years. So because of that, I feel like your experiences are still that of an American's, right? Like still overall the American system and, whatever. I think we were able to relate on a lot of things. It's just those little funny little, I don't know, like social gems, I would say, between
Yeah.
the two of us that I learned that that's like kind of who Travis is. Like we're still similar, right? We're similar enough as people that can laugh and reference old pop culture and nostalgic things and whatever, and then we still also have our own unique experiences that we're like, wow, like I didn't know you did that or
See,
you
I
did
think that
this.
that's a lot of goes back to me being a observer, as in I observed a lot of stuff and I've seen a lot of stuff and I've heard a lot of stuff. I might not necessarily talk about it all the time, but I've seen, and then maybe that goes back to I think what you're saying. I'm able to relate. Um, but yeah, the Midwest was fun. I'm going back there this week. I'm actually kind of excited. You know, I grew up on a lake, and that's always fun. See some family, some old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. So,
Now, you grew up on a lake, as that was like the standard home.
no, well, they've been there for 20 years. This year,
When I say
so
standard home, as in like they have a home base and also the lake house.
they used to. Well, we had another house that was across town, and then there was a small little cottage, but the cottage is now turned into my parents' house, and so they only had the one right now. But we used to go like back and forth. They were like 20 minutes apart, and drove from one house to the other to spend the weekend at the lake because it was a small little like cottage. And or the summer we just spend all the time in the cottage, and then like during school season and those type of things, or my brother was playing soccer a lot, like we went back to the other house because it was larger, more stuff there. So
Well, shout out to Shepherd's Lake because that was literally right over
um
New York, at the border of New York,
yeah.
and that lake got closed down. But as a kid, I was like, think 3 years old all the way until I was like 14, where we'd go every single Sunday, like from spring all the way through summer.
Yeah,
So
and then and like my childhood house is the house that I was referencing, that we went back to. There's a lot of memories in that house because that was probably like third grade to sophomore year of high school that I was kind of in that house, so there was, a lot of good memories there. A lot of funny stories, a lot of pictures from there. Have to go down that memory lane someday.
Yeah, we definitely gotta definitely go, like deep dive into, our deepest traumas so that we can expose all of our heartbreaks and pains and traumas and just cry. I'm just kidding. All right, so I guess that wraps up for this episode. We're gonna continue putting out more episodes collectively. We're still gonna try to find a scheduled time that works, like an every like Monday morning or I don't want to be an every Monday morning kind of person. Ew. I feel like it's so gross. Like just be like, oh, put on the podcast on my way to work on a Monday when you don't even want to exist and you're on your way to work. The last thing you want to hear is my fucking dumbass voice. So I don't want to be the Monday morning voice. I want to be like the exciting like Thursday like morning or like Thursday afternoon where you're like, oh my God, like the weekend's almost here. Like what's Kareem and Travis up to? Oh my God,
Oh my gosh, the happy hour special,
they're so informative. Oh my
the one
God.
hit special.
And also help us just chill. And that's what I want to be. So I think maybe like a Thursday morning is like
Yeah,
it's kind of my vibe. Like a Thursday afternoon, I would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prepare for the weekend.
Yeah, like prepare for the weekend, but also don't listen to me on the weekend because you have other things to do. Unless you want to listen to me on the weekend, and there's a demand for that, because absolutely, then I'll be on the weekend
Yeah,
with
go
you.
for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Go for it.
But like Thursday sounds like chill. Have like a Thursday with me,
All right.
or Thursday afternoon.
So yeah, check us out.
Check us out on all the streaming platforms. You know what it is. Watch us, listen to us, click us, and smoke with us. Take that one hit and be open minded to life. Be based and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.